Welcome to the After Stangs Show presented by our best friends over at Northwest Insurance Agency. The After Stangs Show starts now.
SMU fans know the importance of protecting the football. Northwest Insurance has been protecting Dallas families and businesses for over 30 years. Founded and led by proud SMU alumnus Mark Villasana, the agency fights for its clients, finding the best coverage at the lowest rates. From auto and home to business and life insurance. At Northwest, we make sure you're covered so you can focus on the big wins. Call 214-352-5656 or visit us at nwagencies.com. Northwest Insurance, coverage that's always a victory. Pony up.
Northwest Insurance.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let we go.
How's everybody doing? I'm your host for the After Stangs Show, Jonathan McGill, wrapping up a great performance by our Mustangs, beating Louisville 38-6. Your Mustangs improved to what is it, 6-1 now in league play, which is excellent. Still in the hunt and in the chase for the ACC championship. If you're a Mustangs fan, make sure you put on your pit gear tonight and root for the Pitt Panthers to beat Georgia Tech to help ensure SMU into the ACC. Coming off the game, instant reactions. I feel like the Mustangs played an exceptionally well game. Kevin Jennings, 29 of 37, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, only took 1 sack. An excellent game from him, very efficient. Rhett Lashley does a great job. Again, building on what we have seen from Boston College, the offense has seemed to be rolling, going along very well. Defensively, for your defensive leaders, you had Ahmad Moses, the senior, with 8 tackles today, leading the Mustangs. Brandon Booker had 8 tackles as well, 1.5 TFLs. And Kyron Chambers, someone that has been getting more minutes each and every week with 5 tackles. Jordan Hudson just seems to be a guy that we constantly talk about over and over, week by week, has really taken a turn. He had 8 receptions for 96 yards and 1 touchdown on 10 total targets. On the flip side for Louisville, you had Deuce Adams was 12 of 17, hold him and the Louisville explosive offense to under 100 yards passing, which is something that is huge. I don't know a lot of teams or defenses that have done that. So kudos to Coach Simons and the staff that he has for holding this team to under 100, really holding them at that 100-yard passing mark. And rushing wise, I mean, outside of, the last 2 drives, really hold a potent Louisville team who was down Isaac Brown and Keywan Brown, I will say, but hold them to really less than 100 rushing yards. Towards the end of the game, they had, Sean Boykins, who was a receiver, ended up going in the backfield the last 2 drives, had 8 carries for 52 yards. But your starter, Duke Watson, who was out there for majority of the game, had 6 carries for 36 yards, and Colin Lacey only had 2 carries for 5 yards. And so when you look at that, you really kind of look at how dominant of a game this was for the Mustangs defensively. You hold a potent offense. Jeff Brom, who's probably one of the, great play callers in college football, you hold him to 3 of 12 on 3rd down. As SMU fan, the only thing I say that you want to see improve a little bit better would be the penalties. It seemed like it was a couple of timely penalties. You had 7 penalties for 70 yards. But outside of that, a relatively clean game. You were 9 of 13 on 3rd down. Conversion, you were 4 for 4 in the red zone, scoring on every opportunity you had. Kevin Jennings, not another turnover this week, knock on wood, but he has been playing exceptionally well these past couple of games. Very excited to see what this Mustang team looks like moving towards the future. I think that they've done an excellent job. I think Coach Lashley continues to do a great job in what is looming to be a must-win opportunity Thanksgiving weekend when the Mustangs go up to Cal. Now let's hear from Rhett Lashley and hear what he has to say about the Mustangs 38-6 win versus Louisville.
Question to ask after wins. No, great win for us today. I mean, it's great to send 30 seniors out the right way. I think the guys that have been here all 4 years are 21 in Ford Stadium. That's a big deal. They've not lost a conference game in their first 2 years in the ACC at home. That's wild. And so, what what the seniors, and it doesn't matter if you're the guy who got here this year like TJ Harden, the guy that's been here the last 2 years like Matt Hibner, the guy who's been here 3 years like Cam Robertson and others, or a guy that's been here 4, like RJ Maryland and Isaiah and Smith and Ahmad Moses, or if you guys been here 5 years like Stone and Isaiah Wacobia. I mean, they've all contributed to what we're building, and just it's always great as a coach for them to go out on a high note, right? It doesn't always work out that way. The bye week obviously helped us at a good time. I know they were beat up and we're without some guys, and so that factors in. But I thought it was a complete team win. Defensively, I mean, no touchdowns, 49 plays. That's incredible. And then offensively, we finally scored a touchdown on the opening drive. So Billy, you can quit asking me about that. And even though you haven't, but I just figured I'd throw you under the bus. But that was good. We got off to a good start, I think, scoring 3 of the first 4 drives. We ran the ball well to control the game. We got off the field on defense, and it was just a good day. And you could tell our guys were ready to play last night and today, and really happy for them.
Hey, Coach, how do you feel about the passing defense? They only had 100 yards passing.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I understand, they've got a talented redshirt freshman quarterback. I know that Miller didn't play, and they played 2 other guys. They still have Chris Bell. Y'all saw the catch he made right before half. They still have Lacey and an excellent coach. And so, that's been the thing for us. We've done a good job throughout the year of stopping the run. I don't know if we've smothered it, but people haven't just lined up and ran us over and controlled the game, which has been big. But what we've gotten so much better at throughout the season is getting pressure on the quarterback, and most importantly, not giving up those explosive plays in the passing game. And I mean, you hold anybody to 100 yards passing, that's a pretty good day, especially when they still threw it 20 times. So
Kevin had 300 yards for the 3rd straight week, and it seems like he was making a lot of those plays that we saw last season, just the ones that he's known for. How much do you think the bye week helped him in terms of being healthy, and just what have these last couple games been like for him?
The bye week helped Kevin a lot. I mean, that's the healthiest he's been since week 2. I think you could tell the scramble early to throw it to Hibner. Then he got into trouble. We were hot on a blitz. He makes a guy miss, runs for a first down. The touchdown run, he was extending plays and doing some things that he probably wasn't doing earlier in the year just because he couldn't. He was still playing and doing a lot of good things. But it allowed his entire game. I mean, I know he didn't have 100 yards rush or anything, but you saw how he can extend plays and move the chain. So he definitely is feeling the best he's felt. He helped our whole team. I mean, we had a lot of guys back that haven't been playing the last few weeks. So, sometimes the bye week comes at a time that really benefits you. It helped us. But Kev makes us go. Everybody knows that. And from making plays, throwing the football, making plays, running around, throwing it to TJ Harden for a touchdown when that's exactly how we drew that play up, to extending plays, and he has so much fun doing it, and his teammates feed off of it.
You talk about the play to Harden. I mean, clearly nice. I mean, it looks like he's clearly to run it in.
And he probably could have. Yeah.
I mean, what does that say about him? Just about how just to make a play knowing it's in front of him?
One, he has great field vision. And when you can see the whole field as a quarterback, and then you have the experience he has, you're in total control. And when you're like Kevin, you have, especially when you're healthy, you can escape trouble, right? Where maybe some guys can't. So they got to get the ball out. Well, Kevin always feels like he can, sometimes it hurts. He can keep every play alive, right? But he really can. And so you can just tell, man, he's really comfortable in what we do. He's really comfortable in college football. And when he's out there, he's just in total control of everything that's going on. I mean, I thought he's played really well all year for us, but it was good to see him getting healthy down the stretch when we need it.
You guys have taken care of business. You're going to the last game of the regular season with a chance still to get the title game. Just talk about getting to this positioning.
I'm proud of this team because this team is it's a new team, right? And so I think it's just 3 straight years we'll play the final game of the regular season, either already in a conference championship game or playing to get into one. Now it's the first time we haven't been in control of our own destiny. Maybe that changes today, maybe it doesn't. But when we were 2-2 going into the first bye week after we let 2 non-conference games get away from us, and we were young and we were inexperienced, particularly on defense, and we were hurt on offense, and we were very, very, very average. If the coaching staff and the players in this building didn't have the culture and the belief that they have, I don't know what it would look like, but they just kept believing and going to work. And now, here we are playing with a lot of confidence when it matters. And that's a big deal. Playing with confidence helps. Now we're going to play a team next week that's got a lot of confidence too. So, but No, I'm really proud of them. No matter what happens with things we can't control, what we can control is how we finish. So far, we're doing a good job. We got to finish it off next week. Chris?
November, you guys have been very good since you got here. The team seems to get better as the year goes on. What do you kind of point to for that?
I don't know if there's any one thing. In general, everything we do is focused on finishing. If you go in our team room, there's 4 core values. The 4th one's finish. And it's not last because it's least important. It's last because we're finishing. It doesn't matter whether you're in the off-season workouts, you're in a game, you're in November. Like, we want our guys to learn to be finishers in life. Finishers are a great life skill, and being a finisher is a great life skill. And so we don't overly talk about it. Just everything Grizz does, starting in January in the off-season, to everything we do in the winter program, to everything we do in spring ball, to once we get into summer conditioning, to fall camp, drills we do late in fall camp. Everything always comes back to finishing. The end of our practices are the hardest part of our practice. All those little things that you don't necessarily always even have to say, we're working on this. You just try to train for it, right? You've got to train for things to have confidence in it. And credit the past couple of years in kids that carry over to each team. They're like, no, this is what we do. We win in November. And so doesn't mean we're going to win next week or next year, but our guys have kind of created a reputation of, hey, we're going to be at our best at the end of the year. Now, we want to be at our best all the time, but we just want to always be a team that's getting better. So I think it's a mentality that's kind of woven into everything we try to do in the program. I think our staff deserves a ton of credit for how we take care of our players. This is 2025. It's not like when my dad played football or when I played football. We didn't beat them up last year. We're still a physical football team. We do what we have to do to be physical in the spring, in the summer and fall camp, and the first couple of weeks of the season. And then we do the best we can because we know it's a long haul season. And I can't speak for how other people do it, but we try to do everything with the intention of the end result in mind. So, and then the last thing I'll say, I'll give credit to the first team we had here. When I got hired, it was Tanner Mordecai, Rasheed Rice, and Jimmy Phillips, and I know Jalen Thomas. I'm missing guys, but within the first few weeks on the job, they came to me and said, we were just talking about a few things. Coach, we want to finish better. I go, yeah, okay, I do too. No, we want to finish better in November. We always lose in November. I'm like, oh, okay. So I didn't really know. I did some digging. At that time, we hadn't had a winning record in November since 2009. That year, we went into November 4-4, and we finished 3-1 in the month of November. Went 7-5, beat Memphis at home to get that third win. To say we had a winning November, we didn't win a conference championship that year, but that group kind of set the tone for no. This is going to be who we want to be, and I think that in our first year has kind of just carried on through our program. And so, you got to redo it every year, but our guys have bought into it.
Sportsmo lets you make a more direct impact on the game because it lets you, the fans, fund your favorite college football teams in a straightforward way. In a you win and I'll give way. In a I need you to show me your running game is alive and then I'll donate way. These real-time tax-deductible microfunds lead to impact your team can feel. Every cent you send mixes with every drop of sweat they put in. Form your squad. Boost your friends when a play comes through. A new way to follow the game. And cha-ching, your favorite team. So what do you say, difference makers? Ready to power the play? Sportsmo. Download today. Let's smo.
That's right. Appreciate our friends at Sportsmo for supporting us at On the Pony Express, getting us all lined up back here as we are now joined by Dean Rawlsky, Jonathan McGill. Let us off. I'm Billy Embody. We're here live in the Weber End Zone Complex for the final time this year, gentlemen. I don't think SMU is coming back here, but they are going to take their show on the road next week with everything to play for. SMU at Cal. We'll find out that game time this evening. Late. Could be a late game, could be an early game. Who knows with the time designations for SMU this year. But what I do know is that was an absolute beatdown of Louisville, 38-6. A great way to send out the seniors and a great way for you guys to know now to go on your Sunday to visit our friends at Mignon, where you can get free dessert, whether it be brunch or dinner. Make your reservations on Open Table if you'd like,
or you could probably head over there, but it's a little dicey, a little risky to do that. But get your free dessert because the Mustangs won. So head up to Mignon in Plano, go visit former SMU offensive lineman Nick Nator and his family, and enjoy a great meal to celebrate this great win for SMU with a free dessert from our friends at Mignon. So appreciate them for supporting us. When you look back on a senior day, an emotional day, you start watching all of those guys that have won so many games for SMU, not only on that field, but over the last several years for SMU. It does put it into perspective how quickly time flies.
Yeah.
Seeing guys like Isaiah Smith for me, or Isaiah Wacobia run out, or Ahmad Moses. It feels like just yesterday I was over at Mansfield Summit for Ahmad Moses to flip to SMU on signing day from UTSA, and talked with his coaches, and all of a sudden he's running out there and it's over. And what a way for this group to go out with an emphatic win. I know Louisville was undermanned or whatever, but that's still a talented roster, and they left no doubt there today.
Yeah, I think they did a great job. Obviously senior day, you want to have your mark and have your class kind of give its final farewell or goodbye to the fan base, the school, all the coaches that have poured into you and really done so much. And it's so special for guys like Ahmad and guys like Zay and Isaiah, RJ, that stuck and stayed at SMU, right? They didn't transfer. They came here out of high school, was here the whole time, and really, had an opportunity to just say farewell and thank you so much to the fan base, to the coaches, and also their families. I seen Ahmad get a little teary-eyed or a little emotional on the way out. And I just, coming from me last season, that day, it's like a lot of memories kind of go by and flush as you see Coach Lashley, who's really a player's coach. And he was very emotional, seeing all the guys and all the memories kind of flooding his mind. And so during that time, you kind of get a little emotional. And it's like, all right, bro, we got a game to play. You got to lock back in. So very special for that class. I'm really proud of all of those guys from really staying here, staying in Dallas, doing their thing, and really being prime examples of what it can look like for high school kids coming to Dallas and really embracing this school and really all the opportunities that it has for you.
Dean, you mentioned in the post-game press conference asking some of the guys how much Ford has changed over their time here. And this is a group that I believe finished 21-4 at home in conference play, or maybe overall. Might have the math wrong on that, but 21-4 over the last few years in Ford Stadium. Really, really successful run for them. And, talking with the players, you could tell that it meant a lot to see, obviously, this complex go up. But also, I thought the fan support was good for, that tough Thanksgiving weekend. The home side was packed. The students eventually filled in, and they were loud when they needed to be. There was a lot to cheer about, but Louisville was so out of this game that it also wasn't like the big third down moments as much as Louisville went 3 of 12 on third down.
It felt just more of like an overall happy, like you kind of knew early on what was going to happen. But absolutely, I mean, Cam and Jordan Hudson talked about it after the game. Maybe 30 fans is what Jordan Hudson said in some of those first games that he played at SMU, to where now, look, maybe it's not the absolute best environment in the country, but they are starting to make a difference. The SMU team isn't having to bring their own energy to home games like maybe they've had to in the past, and it showed today. And, yeah, they gave the fans plenty to cheer about today.
And I think looking at the start of the game, and Rhett, for those of you who watched the post-game press conference, gave me a little bit of grief. And we didn't really harp on it too much, although we probably could have this year, the opening drive woes for SMU. But, man, that opening drive today was crisp. Obviously a couple penalties help, but you got to create some of those. And that's what happened with the play of, the receivers drawing those pass interference, calls on that opening drive, but also some great plays by Kevin, finding Matt Hibner to convert that 3rd and 7, and then he keeps it. And I felt like that really, the team looked settled down, the team looked ready to go, but that really just kind of, started this Ferrari back up from, a bye week and got everybody going really quickly, I felt like.
Yeah, I think Coach Lashley, and he mentioned it, I want to say last post-game conference?
Yeah.
About the woes and the struggles that they've, kind of had. He's like, I think we're the worst offense. Our first scripted plays are terrible. Yeah. That's what he said. And so love seeing the touchdown. Obviously, Kevin, and Coach Lashley had mentioned it. Kevin looked really healthy. Looked like, wasn't limping or anything, be able to extend plays, able to continue to just put stresses on defense. And when you do that, defenses have to, do pass interferences when he extends plays. When you have, talented guys like Romello Brinson and Jordan Hudson, you got to get handsy. And so, talking to Kevin, talking to all the other guys, they just knew, I think they were ready for this game, ready to play somebody again. And, last year, that Louisville game was a really tight game. And so I think that this year they kind of wanted to, continue to make an impact, make a statement, and really just send out all of the seniors with just a big dub.
Ymir Knight continues to be a key player. He helped SMU really kind of close the door on this game with that third quarter touchdown catch or fourth quarter touchdown catch to make it 28-6. Dean, or 31-6, whatever it was, 28. What
31,
was it?
I think.
No, 31. Thank you. Dean, you wrote a great piece on him earlier this week. He continues to be just kind of this really smooth, steady receiving option for Kevin. He did get a little nicked up, and there was kind of that moment that you were like, oh, gosh, he was just starting to hit his stride, but he finished today 6 receptions, 44 yards for a touchdown, including that one from Kevin Jennings.
Yeah, absolutely. And similar to SMU as a whole, he's someone who's been overlooked and maybe doesn't get all the recognition that he deserves, but he's starting to now because he's getting those touchdowns. He's making those big-time plays. I mean, I think it was maybe only like a 7-yard touchdown that he caught today, but it was a tough throw right in the back of the end zone, got the foot in bounds, held on to the football. So he's a guy now that you've got the guys on the outside that SMU fans have known and trusted in J. Hud and Romello. Well, now you've got Ymir Knight stepping up, and oh, by the way, coming back next year too.
And coming back with him, Kevin Jennings, who had his third straight 300-yard passing game. Kevin finishes 29 of 37, which is 78% completion percentage. At one point, he was 15 of 16. You probably don't know that on the field, but he was cooking and finishes with 303 yards. The last one being that pop pass to R.J. Maryland, get him in there, get over 300 and get him out. And Charlie Pfizer, Keaton Cheeves, and the rest of the guys took it the rest of the way. But Kevin's really looking explosive. He's looking comfortable. He had a little bit of a lull in that third quarter, but once again, turnover free. SMU wins the turnover battle 1-0 in this one. And really just, I felt like a game that from the get-go, it just seemed that the whole team was confident in the plan. They were confident in themselves. And could you sense that a little bit?
Yeah, 100%. I think the only time that it was like, okay, was their first drive when they got down and got a field goal. They drove down the field, but we ended up getting off the field in third down. And right before half, when they ended up hitting 2 deep balls. We were in cover 2, you could tell, and then kind of just didn't get to the right spot. That's exactly where you need to throw the ball. Great throw by them. Hats off to them. Great throw and catch, Chris Bell. Obviously, he's probably going to be, one of the first receivers taken in the draft this upcoming season. So great catch by him. But outside of those 2 drives, it was pretty much just a total beatdown from their offense looking lackluster, us getting PBUs, D linemen batting down balls, tackling really well in open space. And really, it looked like Louisville kind of was checked out kind of towards that, second half. After halftime, you see some frustrations from some of the players on the field. And then kind of at that point, you kind of knew, okay, SMU had it wrapped up.
Time of possession, big winner here. Big winner, Dean Rawski in his prediction. 35 minutes, 56 seconds for SMU, 24:04 for Louisville. SMU outgained Louisville 485 yards to 228. It just was the most complete game SMU's played all year, and they just kept their foot on the gas.
Yeah, and it just felt like, again, some of the intangibles really mattered, where SMU coming off of a bye after a couple of big wins on the up. Louisville, similar to SMU against Boston College, it was their 6th straight Power 4 game in a row. So they were feeling the effects, and you could just tell. And so the key to SMU was don't give Louisville a reason to get into this game and find that belief again and that spark. And they didn't. Scoring on the first drive with that touchdown was huge, and they took control from there.
Cam Robertson does get a pass breakup in his return, so we got to shout him out, of course. But Isaiah Smith gets one step closer to breaking the all-time SMU sacks record. I believe he is now a half sack short or something like that. The post-game notes, we'll have to grab them and kind of find those. But he's very, very close to breaking that all-time sacks record for SMU. Saw his folks, longtime listeners of the show, on the field before as they wrapped up senior day festivities, which was always cool, and saw a bunch of people. Those for us too. I mean, coaches or players or teammates. It does fly by. But also, I mean, like I said, Ahmad, I remember being there and I was like, okay, here, I'm just going to go over on sign day. It was really early in the morning and he was just quietly signing with SMU and, it flies by for a lot of those guys. And I think now this team can kind of smell what's out there, what's in front of them, the opportunity that they have, regardless of what happens with Georgia Tech Pitt tonight. We'll see. That's going to be a tough test on the road at Cal next week. But for senior day, you got a lot of guys to play, which I think is really cool. I was talking with somebody afterwards, and on special teams, there was, it was generally a pretty good, decent game. A penalty here, a kickoff out of bounds, but SMU was really able to, avoid any sort of issues on special teams this game, and they had a couple backup long snappers running down the field, so everybody got to play, which is always fun. And of course, shout out Brad Chiefs. His last game as at home for SMU is officially a member of this SMU community. He's going on to do great things for the city of Dallas, and in his new role. And his son, Keaton, gets to round things out with a reception from Charlie Pfizer. So really cool stuff there. Really felt like a true family kind of day for SMU. If this would have been a night game, it would have been more of a rocking party, I think. But it was just pure family day, I feel like, around here. So let's get to MVPs in just a second. Of course, again, free dessert for you guys on Sundays from our friends at Mignon. But also want to remind you guys of a couple new sponsors for our shows this week. One of them, Corporate Magic. Really, really cool company that I know it's the holiday season. Everybody's getting jacked up for Christmas parties. If you want to do it bigger than anybody else in the world, visit corporatemagic.com to learn more. They put on events around the globe, whether it be national sales meetings, elite concerts, or just anything really, really just incredible. Corporate Magic can make it happen for you. So go to corporatemagic.com and learn more about what they can do for you if you really want to start planning for your 2026 Christmas party. I mean, they can do it in a big time fashion for you. So we appreciate them for supporting us at On the Pony Express, and also for our friends at StatusJet, statusjet.com. Look, flights are already expensive for that Cal game. So if you were thinking maybe I'll go, maybe I won't, now you can visit our friends at Epic, of course, for the Friday night event out in Paso Robles. Get there using StatusJet and then head on up to Berkeley for that next game, or for the game the next day. So reach out to our friends at StatusJet, get a discount on a round trip flight when you book with them. And of course, got to shout out our friends at the Thomas Auto Group. Head up 75 in McKinney and visit any of their 4 dealerships and get employee pricing on new and pre-owned vehicles when you mention On the Pony Express.
At Thomas Auto Group, the Thomas Promise includes the low price promise,
the pre-owned promise, and the 72-hour exchange promise.
And finally, the 100% customer satisfaction promise. So shop Thomas Auto Group today, home of the Thomas Promise.
Pretty good. Oh, yeah, that was a quick commercial there. Discussing our MVPs, so I hope we didn't give it away right away. But one guy who did not, who's known who he's going with on the MVP front, Jonathan McGill. Share your MVP of the day.
Yeah, for me, I would say Brandon Booker. I think that he played an exceptional game today, being able to fly around, tatted the quarterback up multiple times. If you don't know what tatted it up or tatting a quarterback up, he pretty much made a lot of big hits on the quarterback. A lot of that first drive, they looked like they wanted to do some +1 run game, add their quarterbacks dynamic. He was different than Miller Moss. Miller Moss, more of a traditional quarterback. The quarterback 13 was more of a athletic quarterback, and it looked like Brandon Booker kind of deterred Jeff Braun from calling more of those run plays designed for the quarterback. So he had 1.5 TFL, 8 tackles, excellent game, was flying around, and had a smile on his face the whole time. So I had to give Brandon Booker my defensive MVP.
I wish I had the video of him post-Miami. He was doing quite the celebration dance. I don't know if I'd be giving him credit or maybe letting you guys give him some grief for showing it. But he was breaking it down on Ford Stadium while the field was being rushed. Dean, who do you got?
I'm going to go the safe route here. I'm going to go with Kevin Jennings. Look, you can't give this guy enough PR. The national people don't want to do it, so we're going to do it here. Another 300-yard game, 4 total touchdowns, no turnovers. Really didn't put the ball in harm's way at all. So I could tell you guys why he had an amazing game, but you guys saw it. Just an unreal performance from number 7.
Yeah. Speaking of our friends at Socorro and maybe having a shot, this afternoon, you got so much time the rest of the day. So check out our friends at Socorro, of course, tequila, wherever you're having your post-game celebration, or pick some up. It's great, opportunity to try Socorro, and we had some friends of ours at Los Charros on Hillcrest trying it before the basketball game last night. But a guy who was delivering shots to the opposing team, TJ Harden, finishes with 90 yards on the ground, as well as a little flip from Kevin Jennings for his touchdown on the day. So at least he didn't get snubbed like last week. As Derek McFall racked him up, or 2 weeks ago against BC, as Derek McFall racked up a few touchdowns. But he finished with 90 yards on the ground on 18 carries, good for 5 yards a carry. I thought he really set the tone once again. And I think the offense as a whole fed off of that. I think just the way his running style is working out right now in November, with him getting healthy, this offensive line really putting together all their run blocking. I don't know how to track this. I feel like SMU's been, inserting Stone Eby into the run game a little bit more as far as getting him out on the field, and that's helped as well. But an unreal performance again by TJ Harden. It's not going to get talked about as much because he didn't hit that century mark, but the way SMU was able to rotate him in and get him carries and get him some action. Chris Johnson did return to SMU's backfield, finished with 6 carries, 21 yards. Shotty Clayton Johnson, who it's great to see him out there after last game getting hurt. He finished with 5 carries, 62 yards, including that 50-yard touchdown run to put the game on ice. Those New Orleans kids are still different. I thought he was out for the rest of the year after seeing that one. But he had a nice feather in his cap for a short SMU home career. But nonetheless, man, just a really, really strong game for SMU. Some final stats and tidbits here. The captains for today, Stone Eby, RJ Maryland, Ahmad Moses, and Isaiah Wachovia, 4 guys who've been here from the get-go of their high school careers and played a lot of football for SMU. SMU really didn't have to do too much to slow this Louisville offense down. Just played them straight up. Had a late turnover. Got to shout out your guy Tyron Polley
with a club.
With the club. So back-to-back weeks. Don't take it off for the Cal game. We'll see. He is. If he plays next week, he'll burn his red shirt. But Rhett was pretty emphatic talking with us this week ahead of this game that, look, we're trying to win a championship here. So Tyron Polley eventually went in and made an impact like he's been doing whenever he's been on the field this year. So really nice to see that for the future. And finally, shout out the crowd. SMU breaking its average attendance record for Ford Stadium and as well as their average student attendance. So breaking those records set from last year's run in to the ACC championship. So really, really good day here on the Hilltop all the way around. We'll find out the game time for Cal as SMU looks to win next weekend on the road in Berkeley. And if they do, they'll have done everything they can do to be in position to go to the ACC championship. We'll round out with this. Put your pit stuff on.
Oh my gosh!
This evening, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. They take on Georgia Tech on the road. If Pitt wins, that is one barrier down. The only barrier left would be SMU beating Cal to getting back to Charlotte and everybody hanging out at Clutch pregame. So we're all big Pitt Panther fans tonight, and we'll have a little bit of time here to hang out and get ready for that one. So Jonathan McGill, Dean Rawlsky, I'm Billy Embody. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the After Stangs Show. We will catch you guys next time, and be sure to be locked on at ontheponyexpress.com for just $1 for your first week. Tons of recruiting stuff going on, some major recruiting things in the work right now for the Mustangs. So make sure you're locked in right there at ontheponyexpress.com. Appreciate you guys listening. Have a great rest of your weekend. This is us signing off from Ford Stadium after a 38-6 win for SMU over Louisville.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to OnThePonyExpress.com for more coverage.